talk to us about what this will mean from a humanitarian point of view here.
Yes, from a humanitarian point of view, the conduct of hostilities and its impact in densely populated areas with civilians without adequate safeguards to human life could be disastrous. And we have witnessed that, unfortunately, over the past 4 months in different areas of the Gaza Strip. Now, the Rafah governorate represents 20% of the total space of Gaza Strip, inhabited by more than 1.5 million displaced people, disconnected from essential services like water and wastewater and sanitation services. They live in random tents or makeshift tents, and they are on daily hustle to find food, healthcare, and warmth for their families, for their children. Unfortunately, if the situation becomes more dangerous, if the conduct of hostilities expands into the Rafah governorate, this will only shrink the already limited humanitarian space to achieve the bare minimum of humanitarian response by humanitarian actors, especially if adequate safeguards to human life in such densely populated areas during, the conduct of hostilities are not considered. So it's at the utmost importance now to consider the implementation and interpretation of the legally binding principles of distinction, proportionality, and precaution. And
Hisham, let me interrupt you on that. Let me just because we're very short on time. So in terms of, when you hear this order, you're in the International Committee of the Red Cross. Are conversations being had, Hisham, here about a strategy? Where are the people, 1.3 million people there in Rafah? Where are they supposed to go? What are your options?
There's no option. There's no more south than Rafah in Gaza Strip. There's nowhere else for the people to go. The majority of people here have been, like the average, have been displaced for 5 to 7 times, reaching to Rafah now. They are already living in a very dire humanitarian situation. They have no adequate access to the essential services, and that keeps them surviving. So unfortunately, this is nearly impossible to achieve without the cost of definite thousands of human lives that will be lost and could have been saved.
And I mean, you've been displaced. My team told me you've been displaced, Hisham, about 5 times, and I know you live in Rafah with your extended family. What are you telling them? Because obviously important, as we looked at the map, of course, of Rafah, you're very close to the border, but it's the only viable humanitarian crossing here, right? For Palestinian people to get food, medicine. What does that mean if that's taken away?
It means that the already limited humanitarian aid that is completely incompatible with the continuously growing humanitarian needs will no longer exist. And the essential and crucial security guarantees for humanitarian workers to get that aid to the hundreds of thousands who are in need are no longer available because they're already limited. And if the scenario of expanding military operation into Rafah happens, unfortunately, this will become even more difficult to achieve a humanitarian response, and that would be translated automatically to further human loss and suffering.